Welcome to Talking Clean, the podcast where we will break down clean energy and healthy living into simple, everyday habits that can save you money and protect our community. I'm your host, Dr. Mary House, and I want to share with you why this is so important to me. Being raised in a poor neighborhood in Detroit, where resources and information about creating a healthier and cleaner place to live, it was not a conversation. We were just concentrating on surviving, just like some of you. So as I became an adult, my curiosity began to explore the many concerns of why things weren't like they should be. So in this journey, I began to find out what was not happening in underserved communities of color all across America as it pertains to this topic. And I discovered we just weren't exposed to nor given the resources and information needed to create a healthier and cleaner home. Now, fast forward, I knew I had to be a voice crying in the wilderness for people who looked like me. And out of this cry, this podcast was birthed. And together, we're going to explore practical tips, local resources, and inspiring stories that empower our families and communities to live cleaner, greener, and healthier lives. So whether you're looking to cut down your utility bills or make a difference in your neighborhood, you are in the right place. This is episode 12, and I am here with Kristee Watson from the Nevada Conservation League, and I want to say thank you so much, Kristee, for being here. Now, can you give us some information about the Nevada Conservation League? Because I know my audience probably say, who is that?
Yeah.
What's that organization about, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Dr. House, for inviting me and Nevada Conservation League to be part of your conversation about clean energy. Nevada Conservation League is the political voice of Nevada's conservation community. Mm-hmm. And as an organization, we work to pass policy at the state and local level to protect Nevada's natural resources. And we work to get folks elected that are committed to those values. Mm-hmm. And then we work at the state and local level to pass those policies and make sure that clean energy is accessible and affordable for all.
And I think sometimes, and we'll talk about a call to action, but I think the community doesn't understand that our voices need to be heard when there are committee meetings that are pertaining to things that affect our lives and really our bottom line. Yeah. And I love it what you all do. I think I participated one time in one of your panels of talking to the elected, potential elected officials, right?
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. I'll just say that because I discovered that a lot of candidates are so uneducated about environmental justice.
That's right.
And so that was really good. But you know what? One of the things I wanted to say is, policy is not abstract. And I think people think policy is very abstract. Mm-hmm. But it directly shapes our cost of living.
Yeah.
Why we pay and what we pay and how we breathe.
Yes.
And so can you elaborate on that as far as that pertains?
Yeah, for sure. I believe it to my core that policy changes our lives for the better or worse.
Yes.
And so when we have the opportunity to get involved and lend our voices to that process where policy is passed, and where there are conversations going on about how to best shape policy that is going to impact our pocketbooks and going to impact our health. I think it's really important that we make sure folks know how to participate and how to get involved. And so, to your point, when the state legislature or our county commission or the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada are looking to hear from community members about certain policy that they're looking to pass, and we think about how we can educate the community, how they can internalize that in order to feel empowered to show up and say, this policy is directly going to make it so that Nevada continues to be livable when we think about water conservation, long-term planning for greenhouse gas emissions that are going to ultimately impact our health, rates of asthma, for instance, and also contribute to a warming planet. And we are home to the two fastest warming cities in the country, Reno and Las Vegas. And so over the last 30 or 40 years, we've seen somewhere between a 6 and 8 degree average temperature increase. And that means that it's remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't know we were like we were the top nation, right? That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge, and it impacts not just our health, but in a more tangible, immediate way, our bills.
Yes.
Because when it's hotter and it's hotter for longer periods of time and more days out of the year, we're having to rely on our air conditioning. It is not possible to live in Las Vegas in a residence without having some way to cool your home.
And you know what? I want to say this is because I think I want you all to hear what she's saying. It is so important for us to be involved when it comes to policies and being active and heard at the Public Utilities Commission, at the state legislative, when they have public comments, because it's affecting us. And I hear so many stories, especially from our seniors and our low-income communities, that turn off their air during the hottest times. And you open a door and you go, oh my God, how are you living? Because they just can't afford. And it's so important that we educate what we're doing.
And that's why heat-related deaths have gone up in Clark County. The highest rate of heat-related deaths happened in 2025. I think it was over 600 people lost their lives because they were not able to cool themselves. It's a real concern. And I'm glad that you mentioned the Public Utilities Commission, because that's something that we do, and I know that CH&R does as well. Educate the community members about how to show up. The Public Utilities Commission takes information that's brought to them. They enact those policies, but then it's their job to listen to the utilities and to listen to community members to hear how this is going to impact people. And so if they don't hear from the community, then the PUCN doesn't have that input, that voice.
I call it that data that they need, right?
Yes, the data that they need to consider in order to make a more balanced choice. If all they're hearing from are the utilities, then that's their only influence. So it's hard for us to always understand how that turnout, that advocacy, showing up for ourselves and our communities is making real change in very very real time.
And you know what, Kristee, I want you all to hear that what's so important is that you do have a voice. And Kristee made a very, very great point. And I'm going to keep repeating this and keep repeating this and keep repeating this until I see, I want to call it a movement at at the Public Utilities Commission when they're having public comments. And we're going to talk about that as a call to action. But also even on our legislation, when they're hosting meetings, they have a office here when I go to, building here, and you can do public comment.
Yeah.
Because I think our community, especially communities of color, are so discouraged because they just don't feel they're being heard, or they won't be heard. They're not even out here being heard in the first place. So that's the first thing I need you to get out there. Let me put in the comment. Have you ever been, I need a yes or no in the comment. Have you ever given public comment at the Public Utilities Commission or even the state legislative committee meetings that they have? Put that in the comment. I just want to know. I just want to know where you at right now. But I just think sometimes I feel like I'm the voice crying in the wilderness for our people, because it's heartbreaking when you hear the conditions and you see the conditions of people. I went to the Martin Luther King Day Parade and was just talking to the community, going up and down the street, asking about utility accountability. And one senior citizen looked at me and she said, honey, are they ever going to pay us back? And that just crushed my little heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her and I said, I can't lie. I have no idea what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said, and to be honest, Mother, I
Yeah.
said, I don't have any idea. I said, but we need your voice.
Yep. Yeah.
We need your voice.
Yeah.
So, yes, talk about the importance of the voice.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So the PUCN is tasked with this oversight, and like I was saying, being that middleman between the various input they're receiving, and then being able to roll out, the plans and the policies that help make sure that we have clean, renewable, good, reliable energy. And I think that when we think about showing up and lending our voice to to that process, it's time consuming. It's not always at a convenient time, and that is something that we need to consider. That's another way that our group, and I know that others are advocating for, is to ensure that it is an inclusive process. It's an accessible process. That if you're able to attend, maybe virtually or at times that are outside of your normal 9 to 5. Most people work a 9 to 5
Yes.
job, and in Las Vegas, we actually have quite a few people that don't work 9 to 5
Yes.
jobs with entertainment, and so we want to make sure that lending our voice to the democratization of energy is possible, and the PUCN can do that. The PUCN has the power to do that, to make sure that they're hearing from a wide range of voices. Energy generation is one of the highest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions. So it is one of those really big policy points that is impacting our everyday lives, and not just today, but 10 and 20 years from now. And so I think it's important that we remember that the advocacy we're engaging in today is going to have impacts for generations to come. And so that's a really powerful fact. We want to make sure that we are making it easy for folks to turn out, also educating people to know. Look, 10 years ago, did I know that I could show up to a Public Utilities Commission and advocate that we invest more in renewable energy like geothermal and solar in Nevada? I didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm in this work, and I'm educating my friends, family, and neighbors, and I know you are too, to make sure that we are that we're lending our voices to the process, and we want to make sure that we're making those proper investments in the right kind of energy that is going to preserve our beautiful desert, our natural resources here in the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think within the communities of color, when you go and you drive through, there's not a lot of parks, so we don't have a lot of greenery over there. The buildings and homes, there have been little to no investment in helping not just weatherize them, but when you talk about weatherization over there, you have to start with what's proper installation, is the proper roofing over there, drywalling, the appliances are probably outdated, and I'm quite aware that NV Energy has these programs, but our people have no idea how to access them, and so there's just so many barriers that it's just like, we hear about programs, but how do people access them? They're not user-friendly to even access.
And at the same time, low-income and communities of color are the most vulnerable to these impacts of climate change. And we've known that for a long time. But it's important that we continue to uplift those voices that are most impacted. And so I think when we talk about getting that clean, renewable energy on the grid and making sure that people are saying, I'm suffering, I'm having a hard time paying my bills. Yes, my home is older and does not have good insulation. And yes, I do have to rely on other forms of heating and cooling in my home, or turn my temperatures down, or forgo medicine or food. I mean, these are heartbreaking stories of people that are suffering in our state and will potentially have higher medical bills because we're exacerbating existing health issues. I mean, there are just so many layers to knowing that there are communities that have been left behind by past energy policy, and so when you know more, you do better,
more.
Right?
That's right,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, if you know better, you do better. And so I think that's all part of why we look at the climate crisis, and we look at the process of showing up to the PUCN and demanding renewable energy, and that we expand renewable energy, and we stop relying on gas peaker plants and expanding the life cycle of some of these gas power plants. We want to make sure that we're communicating why this is important for all Nevadans.
Yes.
But there are certain sectors of our population in our neighborhoods that are more impacted.
Absolutely.
And so we always want to show up with that as the priority and recognize that.
Yeah. And I feel so blessed and honored that I feel like, I've been chosen to speak for our community. Again, 10 years ago, I was not in this circle, not understanding the real impact.
Yeah.
And then when I stepped into it, it just break. I must say, sometimes I just cry about it because I'm saying, how can we help people who have no voice? They don't even understand even, when I was talking about gas stoves and, the Black and brown communities, we live off of our gas stoves, not understanding it's related to respiratory diseases as well as, other things that can happen. It's unhealthy for our homes. And what's the solution? Well, the average person in that area can't convert. But what if we had a sponsorship to give everybody a tabletop induction, tabletop? And so turn off your gas and use this. Well, who's going to sponsor that?
Right.
The utilities companies could. Every last one of them. Could sponsor thousands. Give me 1,000 and I'll give them away, right? Do a whole cooking class over there at the West Las Vegas Library.
I would show up. Yeah.
And so, again, but if we're not telling and we're not there in force, it doesn't.
That's right.
I can say only so much, and yes, my voice is being heard, but when I have an impact, and I call it a movement, it's almost like it's time for a movement.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear me? It's time for us to do a movement. And so to get this thing going, and Kristee, I think that's where it's that lack of education and understanding and getting right into the community and saying, first, let's show up and show them we really do care. Let's give them something to start with.
Right.
And we need to change how we cook too, and things like that. And I have an induction cooktop.
Yes,
so,
I know.
And I'm not just talking it, I'm walking it, but I actually love it. And I've had it now for about 3-4 years, I think.
Yeah.
My whole family loves it, right?
Yeah.
It's
great.
It's the best ever, right?
Yeah.
It's the best ever. And but most people can't. And so I so appreciate the partnership with Nevada Conservation League, because you guys also even help educate me when I'm listening to things and what's really going on and the education you bring to the table to help me help the people that I serve, And I want to say why I got you here is thank you for my award,
Yes. I know. I was going to mention that earlier. We see you as a leader in the community generally, but of course on the issues that matter most to us. And you have done such a great job making sure that that your faith community, that your neighbors also know that there are ways that we can improve our health and protect our health and protect the health of our children and grandchildren when we are cooking in the house and when we're thinking about that broader, how we're bringing that energy into our home and how we are holding the utilities accountable through the PUCN to make sure that they're considering our voices and ensuring that we are using, battery storage, investing in geothermal and solar energy. We're the sunniest state in the United States, so we might as well be harnessing that free, affordable power.
And I just got our solar panels on my home.
Oh, congratulations!
The end of last year to get that 30%.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it terminated everything about the solar terminated
Yeah.
December 31st when it came
Yeah.
to solar. But we installed it, and even my bill dropped tremendously in 1 month. And I was thinking, my God.
Right.
But my husband, the joke in our home is we're running our home off of something that God so freely gives us, and that's the sun.
That's beautiful. That's
and
right.
You know what you think about? The sun is free.
Yeah.
It's absolutely free. Now, yes, you pay for the solar panels or whatever.
Right.
But even that's why I was pushing community rooftop solar, because I think, I know it could also change people who can't afford solar or they're in multi-unit home and housing, or people who are renting.
Yeah.
But if it's a community center that has rooftop solar, and they can, they're generating enough energy for that community. It helps bring their bills down and offset costs, which guess what? Now I can put some food on the table. Now I can afford some medicine. Maybe I can even keep my air conditioning unit on right now.
Yeah.
If I had something that offset it. Well, you know, as we bring this to a close, what would you like to leave with our viewers about Nevada Conservation League's mission?
Yeah. Well, I think that, overall, I think that people are busy. They have a lot of distractions. They're taking care of their family, and they're making sure that they have enough money to afford, to pay for their housing and groceries and energy. So we as an organization, I'm part of an incredible team. We're also impacted by these issues. Every single one of us on the team are passionate and motivated to work with amazing coalition members and one another in order to make sure that other people understand that we want to be a part of the solution, and we want to bring other people along. You called it a movement, and that's exactly how we see it. Is we want to bring other people along within this movement, and just remind everybody that at this moment, clean renewable energy produced by the sun right here in Nevada is the fastest to get online, and it is the cheapest. Full stop. Those are the facts. And so if we can make sure that our voices are heard, and that we hold the utilities accountable, that we show up to the PUCN so that they're making sure they're gathering that data in order to move these policies forward, that's all so aligned with our collective mission. And then I think ultimately the Nevada Conservation League and so many other of our partners that we do this work with, we all believe that not only is this affordable, but it is the right thing to do, and we want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And
Absolutely.
so I think it's a lovely thing to be a part of. We only have this one earth, this one gift,
Right.
and we have to make sure we're taking care of it.
I love that you're ending with that, because as a faith-based nonprofit organization, I feel like God gave us this planet for us to take care of.
Yes.
And sad to say, our utilities have damaged it with the gas, the fossil fuels, and everything that they're doing that's not, I want to say, benefiting us as a people and as a planet. So it's the moral thing to do is to take care of this one planet that we have, and let's try to keep it green, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So my call to action to you, I'm going to say, is stay informed about the ongoing docket that is 25-07003. And I know it may not mean nothing to you, but I want you to lock that in, all right? Contact your state lawmakers and voice your support for any refunds with fair interest under the AB 452, because refunds, the NV Energy must do refunds, and we'll get into that at another podcast. So y'all got to keep tuning into my podcast, because I got information you want, right? Okay. Now, submit your public comments to the Public Utilities Commissions of Nevada demanding transparency, independent audits, and a stronger accountability measures. And Kristee noted that too. If you can't show up, because we'll talk about, there is a Public Utilities Commission public comments coming up in June, but it's at 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, if you can't go, you can submit a comment. So go on their website and do that. Lastly, speak up. Share your story with the PUCN regulators and commissions, because what you do and how it affects you really makes a difference. And when they hear the stories and they create this data, they have something now to offset what the utilities are saying, because they're really not saying the right stuff, y'all. Y'all know they ain't saying the right stuff. So I need you all to do that. So I want to thank you for watching Talking Clean with Dr. Mary House, and stay tuned for episode after episode after episode. You need to share it with a friend. You need to, y'all need to have a watch party. What y'all need you all to do is have a watch party on these podcasts and put your comments in there, because we need to be heard. Again, Kristee, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. I feel like this is going to be an amazing podcast, and we're going to share it over and over and over again. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Talking Clean with Dr. Mary House. Remember, every small step towards cleaner living adds up to a big difference for your home, your wallet, and our community. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, share this episode with a friend, and connect with us online for more clean energy resources. Just remember to think green and keep talking clean.